Hello guys and welcome to my new video. Set 11 Winterspell is coming soon to your local game store, and as you can see, I'm ready for it. Today I prepared a couple decks to start off the new adventure into the new set. Have fun, let's go! So deck number 1 for today, purple steel, an old and reliable deck, and I didn't change much from the winning deck list from set 10. So the base shell or the core of the deck is pretty much the same, but I made a couple changes testing new cards. Let's have a quick look at the list. 1-drop characters: Captain Hook, Olaf and Pelisgard, 10 in total. I run Pelisgard because I expect a lot of blue decks still with purple and green blue. And Olaf is there to bounce your characters back to hand like Dog or Cheshire Cat to get more cards in hand and have more draw available. Or to bounce like a Cobra back to your hand to gain instant 2 lore from her ability. On the 2-drop slot, I still run 3 copies of Calhoun, 4 copies of Dog as an old and reliable draw engine for purple steel, and since I expect a lot of evasive characters and evasive decks, I run 4 copies of Mr. Smee. He gets evasive in your turn. This is it for the 2-drop slot. Pretty much standard so far, and in the 3-drop slot there are some changes compared to set 10. I run 3 copies of the new Angela. She's a 3-drop inkable character, 2 strength, 3 willpower quests for 1, and when you play her, one of your chosen characters gets Challenger +2 and Resist +2 until the start of your next turn. And your gargoyle characters lose the Stone by Day ability. Means if you have more than 3 cards in hand, they still ready at the start of your turn. What Angela does is you either boost up your Calhoun, make her like invincible to not even take a single damage, or you can use it also on your 1-drop characters to take out other characters from your opponent. And since I expect a lot of aggro decks, I think Angela is a smart inclusion in your purple steel deck. We also have Cheshire Cat, of course, Giant Cobra, and new in the mix, the new Genie, purple 3-cost inkable character, 3 strength, 4 willpower quests for 1. He has boost 1, and this character gets +1 lore for each card under him, so you can use his boost ability a couple times, then quest for him for like 3-4 lore maybe. And with Olaf in the deck, you can then bounce him back to your hand and profit from more hand cards. And also on the 3-drop slot, new and upgraded Lexington called Gigi. She's a 3-cost inkable character, 2 strength, 4 willpower quest for 1. She has alert, so the same ability as Lexington, and while she has no damage, she gets +2 damage. Why is it an upgraded Lexington? Because she doesn't have the downside of this Stone by Day, but we have Angela in the mix, so if you play Angela, you can easily play Lexington as well. And what Gigi does also, she's a perfect target for Cheshire Cat, so if you heal her up, she gets +2 strength again, and is a 4/4 character. And I really like her in testing so far. The rest of the deck is pretty much purple steel standard. We have Dumbo, we have Genie, we have the 5-cost Elsa, we have 3 copies of Hades, and we have 3 copies of Demona as our top end character, and of course removal, 4 copies of Strength of a Raging Fire. I think purple steel is still a good pick into the early meta in Winterspell, and like I said, I expect lots of aggro-ish decks, aggro decks or aggro lists, so purple steel is the perfect deck to fight those aggro decks. If you want to copy this list, you will find a link in the video description below leading to my Lorcana deck page, so you can just copy this deck. And we jump to the next deck I prepared for your start into Winterspell meta. A deck a lot of people were talking about when a certain card was released is Yellow-Blue Control, and I built this list with some ideas in mind because we are a control list and aggro decks are our worst enemy, and so I made some inclusions you might not see in every Yellow-Blue Control list. So, but let's start over. On the 1-drop slot, we have only 1 card with Eilonwy. She's a 1-drop inkable character, 2 strength, 1 willpower quest for 1, and she has support. And with her support ability, you can boost up your other characters to trade into stronger characters.
On the 2-drop slot, we have Darkwing Duck. He is there for fighting aggro decks. Even if you miss ramp and find Darkwing Duck, you have board presence and you can like stall enemy questing, because he trades into almost every aggro character you find in the decks these days, like the ladies, Daisy, or whatever character they throw at you. We also have Mowgli to rip an enemy action or song from their hand, and of course our boy Tipo to ramp in turn 2 and get an uninkable card out of your hand, so you can like filter through your hand and ink and go up to 4 ink in turn 3. New in the mix is the new 4-cost Belle from set 11. She's a 4-cost inkable character, 2 strength, 3 willpower, quests for 2, and she has such a strong ability. Whenever one of your characters is banished, you may put that card from your discard into your inkwell face down and exert it. So she has quite a similar ability to Cinderella. With Belle in the mix, you can go up to 6 ink in turn 4. So you could go like Eilonwy in turn 1, then Tipo in turn 2, then you drop Belle in turn 3, and then you could use either Tipo or Eilonwy to trade into an opposing character, and this character goes into your inkwell as a zap. And like, yeah, you can ramp up with Belle also to 6 ink in turn 4, which is pretty strong, because then you can follow up with Pete. He's also new in the mix, 5-cost inkable character, 5 strength, 5 willpower, so he has a huge body. Quests for 1, and he has boost 1, so you can use 1 ink to put a card under him, and then his ability is very, very strong. He's a certain draw 1, because whenever this character quests, look at the number of cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of cards under him, put 1 into your hand and the rest under your deck. So you can either use his ability only once, so he draw 1, or you can use his boost ability over a course of turns often, and then filter through the top of your deck to find the card you really need and put that one into your hand. We also have 4 copies of the new 5-cost Stitch Snowboarder, 4 strength, 5 willpower, quests for 2, and whenever this character quests, if you have 2 more characters in play, you may draw a card. So he's also almost certain draw 1. And of course then we run 4 copies of Hades. He can't be missed in a blue control list, and 4 copies of Stitch Surfer. OG set 1 card, 4 strength, 8 willpower, quests for 2, and when you have played this character, if you have 2 or more characters in play, you may draw 2 cards. So a lot of draw power in this stack. And let's have a look at the actions we run. Of course, 4 copies of Sail the Azure Sea, one of the most broken cards in the entire game. And new also, 4 copies of the legendary Ohana Means Family. You can remove all damage from chosen character of yours, and you draw a card for each 1 damage removed this way. And since we have a lot of characters with huge bodies like Pete, Stitch Surfer, Hades, or Stitch Snowboarder, we can draw like 2, 3, or even 4 cards of healing your characters. And with that in mind, your opponents have always to respect Ohana Means Family, because they know it's there. They can't leave damage on your characters, because then it's a certain draw multiple cards in a turn. For removal, we have 4 copies of the Horseman Strikes. You draw a card and then you may banish chosen evasive character. And since evasive characters are all over the place and we don't run any evasive characters in this build, the Horseman Strikes is there to get rid of those evasive characters on the opposing side. And then I run one-off Spooky Sight, because I said in the beginning, aggro decks are our worst enemy. We need something to get rid of aggro characters, like reliable, and therefore is Spooky Sight. 6-cost uninkable action, and put all characters with cost 3 or less into player's inkwell face down and exerted. So it's basically an aggro board wipe. And speaking of board wipes, we have 3 copies of the new be prepared, but it's called Raging Storm. It's not Ruby anymore, it's Amber. It's an 8-cost uninkable action, and it says banish all characters. Of course, you could switch the 1 copy of Spooky Sight for a 4th copy of Raging Storm, but I thought, okay, I want to fight aggro decks more consistent. That's why I cut 1 copy of Raging Storm and added 1 copy of Spooky Side. 8 ink is a lot, but with this deck it's possible to gain up to this ink count very easily and consistent. And like it's the break, it's like the reset button we have in Lorcana right now, and we finally have our board wipe back. It's an Amber, it's an action, and let's see how it will like find its place in the decks in the meta. And to final up my list, 4 copies of the reprint of Let It Go, It's Back, 5-cost inkable action song. You can put the chosen character into the player's inkwell, face down and exert it. And we have quite a few singers for Let It Go with Pete, Stitch, Hades and the other Stitch, or you just hardcast it with all the ink available. So I think this list will be a very good pick for the beginning of the Winterspell meta. Green, blue, yellow, blue, control. As always, if you want to copy this list, you will find a link to my Lorcana deck page in the video description, and we have a look at the 3rd deck I prepared for you today. Deck number 3, a fan favorite, green and purple. I was high on green purple last set, especially the burn list, but this version is more a mid-range deck. Since Fox and Hound was one of my favorite movies as a child, I tried to include all of Fox and Hound cards with Todd and Copper in this build. So it's a green-purple mid-range build, and let's talk about all my card choices and synergies you will find in this list. As a 1-drop cards, we have both Copper and Todd. Copper gives us the ability to look at the opponent's hand and get some information, and they both function as shift target for their respective Floodburn version. In a 2-drop slot, we run 4 copies of the Dual Link Diablo. He's evasive and Challenger +2. So you already see we have a lot of evasive characters in this build, as you will see in a second. In a 3-drop slot, we have Cheshire Cat, moving some damage, and 4 copies of the new Vixay. 3-cost inkable character, 1 strength, 3 willpower, quest for 2. And if you have a character named Todd in play, you pay 1 ink less to play Vixie, and she also has evasive. Then we have 2 classic characters, Dumbo and Genie, as a 4-drop evasive package. And I run 3 copies of the new 4-cost Todd. He's a 2 strength, 4 willpower, quest for 2 character. And whenever this character quests, you can choose between 2 options, gain 1 lore, or one of your other characters gains evasive until the start of your next turn, which is also pretty strong. And then we have in the 5-drop slot the new Floodborn Copper. He's a 5-cost inkable character, 3 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 2. You can shift him with 3 ink on the 1-drop Copper, and whenever this character quests, your other characters with evasive get +1 lore this turn. So as you see, we run a bunch of evasive characters in this build, and this is where Copper shines. So if you have multiple evasive characters established on your board already and then Copper quests, you can gain so much lore in 1 turn with only Copper on board. So I really love this card, and in testing to find the shift line, drop multiple evasive characters, be patient, and then quest out in like 1 or 2 turns is like almost always guaranteed win for you. I run 4 copies of the 5-cost Elsa and 3 copies of the purple Hades, which is also a very good card to like have some spot removal or card draw, whatever your opponent chooses to do. And as a top end character, I run 4 copies of the new legendary Todd. He's a 7-cost inkable character, 6 strength, 6 willpower, quest for 2. You can shift him with 5 ink on one of the smaller Todd characters, and he has evasive as well. And then his ability is kind of unique. Twice during your turn, whenever this character is chosen for an action or item's ability, you may ready him, and with no restrictions. So you can quest 3 times in a turn if you choose Todd with one of your actions, which can be pretty strong. And you see he has evasive as well, and with Copper on board questing with him, you can gain like 9 lore in 1 turn. So speaking of actions, we run a couple actions you can use for triggering Todd's ability. 2 copies of Improvise, giving one chosen character +1 strength this turn, and draw a card. Also 2 copies of Hypnotic Strength, draw a card, chosen character gains Challenger +2. You can use both to trigger Todd's ability. And for some control options, I run 3 copies of each. Pull the lever and wrong lever. You can draw cards or control opponent's board, put character back to his hands or under his deck, whatever option you choose. And to finish off the deck list, 4 copies of the new 4-cost song, Education or Elimination. You can choose between 2 options. You can draw a card, chosen character of yours gets +1 law and evasive until the start of your next turn, or you can banish chosen damaged character. So as you see, we have quite a few options to trigger Todd's ability, and with all the evasive characters in this list, you can gain lore pretty easy with copper and the combinations possible with this deck. Dumbo functions as our main card draw engine, and yeah, the rest I think it's self-explanatory. So if you want to try this list, I can guarantee you it's fast, it's fun, and some decks struggle with dealing with so many evasive characters. As always, you will find a link to my Lorcana deck page to copy this list, and we jump to the next deck I have for you today. So we're halfway through the video today, and if you made it up to this point, don't forget to subscribe for more cool Lorcana videos coming in set 11. Looking at this list, this is maybe not the most competitive one, but it's a fun one, and since I really love the Lilo and Stitch franchise, I had to build an Amber Steel Lilo and Stitch and Alien deck. Let's talk about some card choices. All the card choices are made for this deck, and I would classify this list as an kind of aggro mid-range version of a deck. So as a 1-drop characters, we run the new Gantu. He's a 1-drop inkable 3/3 character, quest 1, and when you play him, you choose and discard a card. So he's a little bit overstated for a 1-drop character, but that's fine. And he has the alien tech, which will come in handy later. We also run the 1-drop Lilo, 1 strength, 2 willpower, quests for 1, and while you have a character named Stitch in play, this character gets +1 lore. Looking at the 2-drop characters, we have Angel, one of the go second characters. So usually it costs 2 ink to play Angel, but if it's the first turn and you're the second player, you only pay 1 ink to play Angel in turn 1. She's a 2 strength, 2 willpower character, quests for 1, and she has the Singer 3 available, which can be very helpful with the song package we run in this deck. We also have in a 2-drop slot 3 copies of the Great Councilwoman. Finally, after 4 sets, she can finally shine. A 1 strength, 3 willpower character, quest for 1. Whenever this character quests your other alien characters, gets +1 lore this turn, and we run quite a few alien characters in this build. We also have 4 copies of the new Steel Lilo, uninkable, 1 strength, 2 willpower, quest for 2, and her ability is very, very strong. With the new ruling, during each opponent's turn, the first time this character would take damage, she takes no damage instead. So there is no way of damage Lilo the first time. So you can challenge her the first time, she doesn't take damage. You can target her with a damage spell, she doesn't take damage, and you can't put damage counter on her, and she only also does not take any damage the first time. So you always need 2 cards or 2 challenges to get rid of Lilo, or like put her into the Inkwell. That's a way to get rid of her, but other than that, you need to challenge with 2 characters into Lilo to remove her from the board, which is pretty strong and pretty annoying for your opponent. We also have the Amber version of the aggro Lilo 2-cost inkable character, 1 strength, 2 willpower, quests for 2, and 3 copies of the new Steel Stitch, 3 strength, 2 willpower, quests for 1, and while you have a character named Lilo in play, this character gains Challenger +3. So if you're facing another aggro-ish build, you could go Lilo in turn 1, followed up by Stitch in turn 2, and then Stitch becomes a little rocket with 6 strength to remove any character he's facing. In the 3-drop slot, we run 3 copies of the new Chi-Chi. We already talked about her in the purple steel, but she has alert, and while she has no damage, she has +2 strength, so it's a 4/4 character. Of course, I have to bring her back, the Steel Lilo, back from set 9. 3 cost inkable character, 2 strength, 2 willpower, quest for 1. When you play this character, all your other characters gain challenger +2 this turn, and her second ability was never in use until now. Whenever this character quests, chosen alien character gains challenger +2, and this character can challenge ready character this turn. So every alien character on board with Lilo's help can target ready characters, so no character on the other side is safe. I also included 3 copies of the new Amber Pleakley, 2 strength for willpower, quests for 1, and when you play this character, if you have another alien character in play, which is pretty easy with this build, you can draw a card. And speaking of card draw, it can be an issue with this build a little bit, but we have some options for more card draw coming. Going up to the 4-cost slot, we have 3 copies of the new legendary Angel. 4-cost inkable, 3 strengths for willpower, quest for 1. While you have no cards in hand, this character gains resist +2. And if you manage to empty your hand pretty quickly, it's very hard for your opponent to get rid of Angel, but her second ability is what makes her shine. Once during a turn, you may choose and discard a card to deal 2 damage to chosen characters. So if you manage to protect Angel and bring her over a couple turns, you can then use her second ability every turn, discard a card, and use it as a fire the cannons on a stick with Angel and get rid of small characters or pre-damaged characters on the opposing side. And also in the 4-drop slot, 4 copies of the Steel Stitch with strength for willpower, quest for 1, and during a turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may draw a card and gain 1 lore. He also has the alien tag, and with some combinations, it's possible to also target ready characters or boost his strength or whatever. So he's pretty strong in this build as well. And we have 2 more characters left in this build. Snowboarder Stitch, 4 copies, 4 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 2. Whenever this character quests, if you have 2 or more characters in play, you may draw a card. So here we also have more card draw, and as a top end, 3 copies of the new Lilo Rockstar. 6 cost inkable character, 3 strength, 5 willpower, quests for 2. You can shift with 4 ink on another Lilo character, and whenever this character quests, you may play a character with cost 2 or less from your discard for free. So this can be very strong. So every other Lilo can function as a shift target for the new Rockstar Lilo, and then you can play your other small characters from your discard for free and start flooding the board again. So we have a few actions and songs in this build as well. For some card draw, I included 4 copies of the legendary Ohana Means Family. Remove all damage from chosen character of yours, and for each damage removed, you can draw a card. And we have some characters with huge bodies like Snowboarder Stitch, Lilo Rockstar, or Gigi, for example. You can hold quite a bit of damage to draw a couple cards with Ohana. And for a song package, I included 4 copies of the uninkable Akud. You can play the next character for 2 ink less, and it replaces itself, so you can draw a card. So starting on the draw with Angel, sing a 3, and then followed up with singing Akud and dropping a 4-cost character in turn 2 already is pretty strong. And for some removal, the only not Lilo and Stitch card, Strength the Raging Fire. I think it's a must include in every steel deck. And with some singers available, Strength the Raging Fire becomes one of the cards you can control opposing boards and do some damage and remove characters on the other side you can target. So overall, I really like this deck, and if you like the Lilo and Stitch movie, you should definitely give this list a try. If you want to copy it, you'll find the link in the video description below, and we have 2 more decks to look at in this video. Besides Purple Steel, Red Blue is one of my favorite decks of all time. It maybe not be there yet where it was before rotation, but we got a few new toys to play with, and I tested a couple new cards in this build. Let's talk about the new cards I added to my Red Blue shell I already used in set 10. I added 4 copies of the new Belle, She's a 4-cost inkable character, 2 strength for willpower quest for 2, and whenever one of your characters is banished, you may put that card from a discard into your inkwell face down and exert it. So she functions like kinda another ramp card in this deck, so you can go up to 6 ink in turn 4 already. And of course we run 3 copies of Cinderella from set 10, the legendary one. Also helps you getting to 6 ink very fast. What I also added newly with set 11 is Pete, 5-cost inkable character, 5 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 1, his boost 1. We already talked about him in the yellow-blue control build, and I think he's one of the best cards in the entire set and should be an auto include in every blue deck. We also have, of course, the Headless Horseman back from set 10, and new in the mix is the Ruby Copper, 6-cost inkable character, 8 strength, 5 willpower, and with his abilities he reminds us of Maui, hero to all, rush and reckless. So he can function like as a instant removal, and with his 5 willpower he can hold and take a lot of damage, and he usually is a 2-for-1, so taking 2 characters with him. And with some other cards in this deck, you can ready him instantly and use him twice in a turn. Of course, I had to include Maui Half Shark, Hades, and Maleficent Dragon in this build. And to have a lot of Maui Half Shark synergies, I added a lot of actions and songs in this build. Like no-brainers are Develop Your Brain, Sail the Azeroth Sea, Visions of the Future. I also added 2 copies of Distract. Chosen character gets -2 strength this turn. You can draw a card so it replaces itself, and you can like reduce enemy character strength to use Headless Horseman more efficiently. I had to include 2 copies of Next Stop Olympus. It works very well with Copper, because then you have a character with 5 strength or more in play, so you can play Next Stop Olympus for free. Also, what you want to use it on is Maui Half Shark, so you can gain it back and loop it back from your discard, play it for free again, and start gaining lore over and over again with Maui Half Shark's ability. And I included 2 copies of Spooky Sight, the aggro board wipe in Sapphire. Yeah, that's it for the actions and for the songs. We got some new toys to play, and I really love both cards. 4 copies of Marching Off to Battle, 4-cost inkable song. If a character was banished this turn, draw 2 cards. So if your playline would be like Belle or Cinderella in turn 3, followed by a Headless Horseman removing a character, you can sing this song with your 4-drop characters and draw 2 cards. And another toy we got to play is Grab Your Bow, a 5-cost uninkable song. I have 3 copies of it in this deck. Banish up to two chosen characters with 2 strength or less, and that's why Distract is in this deck as well, so you can reduce characters' strength, use Grab Your Bow on the enemy characters and start removing them. And what I really like is the reprint of Let It Go. I included 2 copies of it. You can ramp it up maybe to 3 or 4 copies. Let It Go is such a powerful card, 5-cost inkable song. You can put chosen character into its player's inkwell. And that's it for the deck actually. I think this Ruby Sapphire list is pretty strong, and yeah, it can contest for the meta. I think you should definitely try this color combination in set 11. If you want to copy it, you will find a link in the video description below. And I have one last deck to go I want to show you today. Last one for today, Amber Ruby Raging Bambi. And yeah, this color combination was back in set 2 with Mufasa, one of the best decks to play, and I think yeah, we might getting there back again. Let's talk about the card choices I made for this build, because it's really fun to play. And yeah, let's just go over the cards. Our only real 1-drop character is the Ruby Mulan, 2 strengths for willpower, quests for 1, and this card enters play with 2 damage. And the 2 damage are important because we have some cards to use those damage in this build. And then we're going to the 2-drop slot, and maybe the best card in the format, a highly discussed card, Grandmother Willow. 2-cost uninkable card, 1 strength to willpower, quests for 1, and once during a turn you pay 1 ink less for the next character you play this turn. So for example, you could drop Grandmother Willow in turn 2 and play a Mulan for free, or use Grandmother Willow's ability the next turn and drop a 4-cost character in turn 3 already. And if you manage to protect her and use her ability wisely, you can use it every turn. I also included 3 copies of the new Liquidator. He's also a go second card, so if it's your first turn but you're a second player, you paid only 1 ink. He's 4 strength to willpower and he has reckless, so he has to challenge every turn when possible. So he's like our tool to fight aggro decks. I also included 3 copies of the Amber Mowgli. You can rip a card from your opponent's hand. And speaking of damage, I included 4 copies of the 2-cost Reuben. He's a 1 strength 3 willpower character, quest for 1, and when you exert him, you can remove up to 2 damage from chosen character of yours. So that's why Mulan is in this build, and for each damage removed this way, you pay 1 ink less for the next character you play this turn. So you could go Mulan in turn 1, Reuben in turn 2, and in turn 3 you can remove the 2 damage from Mulan and drop a 5-cost character already in turn 3, which can be really huge. And we have some very powerful 5-cost characters. In the 3-drop slot I only have 3 copies of Raja, because usually with Grandmother Willow or Reuben line you skip the 3 ink play, but still Raja is very good to protect your board early on or later on as well, so your opponent has to go through Raja first. And then we are already at the 4-drop slot, and here's a card which gives the name for this deck: Bambi, the new Amber Bambi, 4-cost inkable character, 3 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 1. Bambi has boost 2, so you can pay 2 ink to put the top card from your deck under this card, and the ability from Bambi is really strong. During your turn, whenever this character exerts, reveal a number of cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of cards under him, and put all revealed character cards into your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Since we run over 50 character cards in this build, Bambi really shines here. And if you can boost to Bambi multiple times, you can draw 2 or even 3 cards of Bambi's ability. So also in the 4-drop slot we have Sarabi, 4-cost inkable character, 4 strength, 4 willpower, quests for 1, and if you exert Sarabi, chosen opposing character gets -4 strength until the start of your next turn, which can be really good with the Headless Horseman we will see in a second. In the 5-drop slot, speaking of Headless Horseman, of course 4 copies of the Headless Horseman. We also have 4 copies of Stitch Snowboarder, and in the 6-drop slot I included 2 copies of the new Ruby Copper. We already talked about him in the Ruby Sapphire build, so he's like instant removal tool for this deck. He can hold a lot of damage, which will be needed with Ohana Means in Family in combination. And I also included 2 copies of the Amber Scrooge McDuck, 6-cost inkable character, 4 strength, 7 willpower, quest for 2 is shift 4, but we can't shift him in this build. But whenever you play a character or location with boost, you may put the top card of your deck face down under him. So you can play Bambi, for example, after Scrooge McDuck and put a card for free under Bambi, and then use Bambi's boost ability as well. So you already have 2 cards under Bambi. And speaking of boost, I included, and he's maybe also one of the key cards in this build, 4 copies of the Whisper Simber, 5 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 3. He has boost 3, and whenever you put a card under Simba, you can reveal the top card of your deck. And if it's a character card, you can play it for free and exert it, which can be really strong, because if it's a removal card, the removal still counts. If it's a draw card, you can still draw cards of this character, for example Stitch Surfer or Maleficent Dragon. They are also in this build. And then we're already at the action package. We have 3 copies of Ohana Means Family, and we have 3 copies of the Horseman Strikes, and I had to include 1 copy of the new board wipe Raging Storm, the 8-cost uninkable action. And that's it for my Amber Ruby Raging Bambi build. So You have to use the early ink, ink reduction cards to play your bigger characters early on, and then go from there, control the board, use your boost characters to draw cards, play cards for free. The only thing that this deck lacks is a bit of card draw, but Ohana Mint's family can solve this problem with ease, because you have quite a few characters that can hold a lot of damage, like Scrooge McDuck or Stitch Surfer. Overall, this deck is really fun to play and a new way of playing Ruby Amber. If you want to copy it, as always, the link you will find in the video description below. And yeah, that's it for today. There will be more videos coming in set 11. Let me know in the comment section which 2 decks I should try first in some sort of like gameplay testing in the early Winterspell meta. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more Lorcana videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Flokki.